Hello, friends. Monday afternoon. I saw a couple other people scoping. I'm sorry. I just, you have this little window and you got to take it after you're done school with the other kids and before the baby wakes up. There just is a window. And here we are. So, hey guys, hop on in. And while I'm here, I got hey Beth, I got a Voxer from somebody who wanted to know about the bookshelf. The message got cut off, so I'm not sure what the whole question was. But I've done this before. But so this is it's like half board games and half books. So from here down is books, and from here upwards is board games. These are board games. These are board games. These are board games. This is just one tiny fraction of our board game collection. So I think we owned somewhere in excess of 300 different board games. That's a big thing for our family. So, all right, let me flip the camera around. And Jamie, if that didn't answer your question, then Voxer me again and let me know what the rest of your question is. Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Game playing. Yeah, I have some on my YouTube channel that we scoped earlier about games, and I actually have one to share with you today. So we have been learning about measurement. Let me introduce myself and then I'll get into that. My name is Lena Sutherland. I'm a homeschool mom to 7. 5 of them are school age this year. The other 2 are younger. And I blog over at Homeschooling Without Training Wheels, hswotrainingwheels.com. And that's also where you can find me on Periscope, of course, and then Instagram and Facebook, hswo training wheels. So I scoped last week about the resources that we've been using to do measurement when we were talking about time. So if you're interested in that, you can check back either on my YouTube channel or in my Periscope account for the scope about time. And today I wanted to hop on to share with you some of the resources that we've used to talk about weight or mass. So the first thing that we did was we read this poetry book, which is another part of the series of the one that we read for time. It's called On the Scale, A Weighty Tale. And this is another Brian Cleary poem book. Brian Cleary is the guy that does the series called Words Are Categorical, like a minka fink, a skating rink, what is a noun? And to root to toot to parachute, what is a verb? And so he also has this series called Math is Categorical. Categorical is a pun because all the books are, I don't know if you can see through the glare, but they're all cats. All the characters in the book are cats. So the illustrations are hilarious. The text is hilarious, but it's also full of information. So it's fun. So we read this book on measurement, and it discusses the various different units of measurement when you're measuring weight. And then the next thing, yeah, I love his books. Good stuff. Another thing that we did was I actually purchased well, before I get to that, let me show you this. I did purchase a balance, and I'll show you that in a minute. But this was a really fun game that we bought. It's called Balance Beans. Anybody ever seen Balance Beans, played Balance Beans? So the main part of the game is basically just a balance. It's a little, platform with this thing that sits inside of it. And then let me show you this piece. So I'll turn it this way. There's a middle section, and then there's, 1, 2, and 3 segments away from the center on each side. And you probably can't see it on Periscope, but there are these little, circular holes here. So there's, 1 circle, 2 circles, 3 circles, okay? So the very cool thing about this game is that it comes with a bunch of, oh, the cards aren't in here. Well, anyway, I can still describe it for you, and I guess I can't show you the cards, but it comes with a variety of beans that are hooked together in 1s, 2s, or 3s. And the way that you play it is that you begin with a card, and the card will tell you how to set up the board initially. So maybe you have to put 3 here, and then 1 over here. And then it will tell you that you also need to add on, say, 2 sets of yellow. And so then you have to figure out how to add on the 2 sets of yellow, on either side, any space that's open, such that the board will balance, okay? Because obviously right now it's not balanced. Now, the really, really cool thing about this is, of course, it teaches balance and weight. So you can talk about lever and fulcrum. You can talk about, the physical principles of all that. But here's the cool thing. So this is essentially multiplication practice as well. Because, for example, in the one row, everything is worth 1. It's like times 1. Okay? So, for example, you could put 3 guys in the one row, and they'd be worth 1 each. 1, 2, 3. And then on the opposite side, you could put 1 guy in the 3 row, and since he's in the 3 row, he's worth, each one would be worth 3, so he's worth 3. So, I don't know if you can see, but 3 in the first row balances with 1 in the third row. So you're kind of teaching multiplication, because you're teaching that 3 times 1 is the same as 1 times 3. Right, so you're also learning like the inverse principle, hey Angel, of multiplication and all that. So we had a great talk about that and how the distance from the fulcrum, affects, is a factor in the effect that the weight has. Anyway, so that was a great game. That was really fun. And then I also got them an actual balance. Okay, and this is not a triple beam balance, because obviously a triple beam balance would have 3 beams on it, and this does not have that. But, hold on. There we go. It does have these masses, and there's a couple of 10-gram masses, a couple of 20s, and a couple of 50s. And then you can see there's 2 trays here for putting, this one is where you put your, I don't know if you can read it, but it says place objects here, and it's not going to focus. Anyway, this one says to place the objects in it, and then the other one says to place the masses in it. So you place the objects in this one, and then you place your masses over here if you want to measure how heavy something is. And what's really fun is that the kids started, they only have, this is a balance. We've been learning about measurement, and we're specifically studying weight and mass this week. So this is what we were talking about, weighing things on a balance. So obviously with like 2 50s and 2 20s and 3 10s, you can go up as high as 150 grams. 150 grams is not that much. Like a gram is a paper clip. This is grams, so this is metric. Now you can also do 1 gram increments on this bar here. So if it was like 21 grams, you could put a 20 over here, and then you could work out the rest with 1 gram increments. So anyway, like I said, they wanted to weigh all kinds of things in the house, and they realized that, they don't have enough masses over here to weigh a lot of the things that are in the house. Like they wanted to weigh a Yankee Candle. There's not enough masses over here to work out the weight of a Yankee Candle. So it was fascinating, because they would do things like, they would put a Yankee Candle on this side and a soda can on this side, and then they'd figure out, they didn't get to the answer of how much each one actually weighed, but they'd say, well, the Yankee Candle is, 35 grams more than the soda can, because I had to put 35 grams over here with the soda can to be the same as the Yankee Candle. Or they'd figure out the weight of one smaller thing, like they figured out that an apple weighed, 100 grams, and then they'd use the apple plus the masses to weigh something else. So they'd say, like, the apple is 100 grams plus more masses, and then they could figure out how heavy something else was. So I didn't even plan for them to do that. I just kind of let them play with it, and I'm glad I did, because my personality is kind of like, oh no, that's a nice thing, and it's for school, so don't play with it. But I'm really glad that I just kind of relaxed a little bit and let them play with it, because they took it farther and did more things with it than I would have really, instructed them to do or thought about telling them to do. So that was fun. And then, because we were doing all this stuff with the balance, I downloaded a digital copy from Critical Thinking Press of a book called Balance Benders. And Balance Benders is really fun. It's really logical thinking, but I'll tell you in a minute why I'm doing it with the measurement unit. So this is a sample page from Balance Benders. There's a picture at the top of a balance, and it'll show you, I don't know if you can see, but here's a gray circle cut in half, Here's a square, here's a rectangle. Here's a rectangle, a star, a square, and another star. So if you think about it for a minute, you'll recognize that since there's a square on both sides, they kind of balance each other out, cancel each other out. Since there's a rectangle on both sides, they kind of balance each other out. So in your mind, you could eliminate those and just think about the circle being the same as the two stars. And since the stars are identical to each other, what that really means is that one star is the same as half of that gray circle. And so then they have to go through this list and find the 3 things that they know can be true from what they see up here. So for example, this one would be true because we know that if we eliminate the 2 rectangles that equal each other and the 2 squares that equal each other, they're going to be left with 2 stars equals a circle, okay, which is what we have here. So we know that's always going to be true. So here are the advantages of this. First of all, it's really fun. They love it. And they've been really excited to realize, like, oh, you can tell this. And this is several lessons into the book. So they're really expanding here, how like they're saying, so 3 stars would equal a circle and a half. So they're having them do actually some, basically multiplying, some calculating to compare the values here with what's here. Everybody still there? Somebody like pop up a heart or something. I see numbers at the bottom, but I don't see any comments or hearts. Okay, good. That's fine. I'm not fishing for compliments. I just want to make sure I haven't, the internet hasn't kicked me off or something. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, totally fine. Okay, so the reason that I did this during the measurement unit is because one of the things that my bigger kids are going to need to do as a part of measurement is they're going to need to do unit conversions. So, they're going to need to say, okay, if 12 inches is a foot, then what about 36 inches? And so since we've been doing all this work with the balance benders, I'm planning to take this same format and work with them on their unit conversions. Hello, my phone froze, so let me just show you the last part of what I was going to show you, and then I'll be finished. So I'm not sure exactly where it froze up, but what I was saying was we've been using the balance benders, and it's basically just a logical thinking skill where they're comparing what they see up here with these choices down here, and they're determining from what they see up here, what can they know to be true down here. And one of the reasons that I wanted to do this with them during this unit on measurement is because that same kind of thinking skill is going to come in handy when they're doing unit conversions. So they're going to have to do the kind of problems where they know that, for example, 12 inches is a foot, so how many inches would be in 3 feet? Or how many feet would 36 inches be? So it's essentially the same thing because basically this is algebra. What you're doing here is algebra. You're canceling out similar values and you're seeing what remains and you're figuring out what you can convert. If you 1.5, you'd have to multiply this side by 1.5. So anyway, the same concept that they're doing in the balance is what they'd need to do in unit conversions. I'm hopping off because I keep freezing up, so I'm going to get out of here before I get stuck again. Hope you guys have a great day.